In this video I will share with you how to complete an EICR certificate from start to finish on the FastTest program made by amtech. I am not affiliated with amtech in any shape or form, I just use this and I want to share with you how I do it. So if you want to know how to fill in one of these certificates, or even if you've got a printed British Standard certificate, this will help you know how to complete from start to finish. So sit tight. If you're short of time, you can also look in the description and find the time at which each section occurs, and that will speed you up, or else you can actually go to the speed and adjust the speed, and that will get you through this video quicker as well. So first things first, within this program, how to create a new client. It's the fourth tab along here at the top. So this is my existing client, so to create a new one, it's down here on the bottom left, new, and let's go for jukebox and test. Yes, there we go. You get the idea. Fill your information in there. So creating certificate is the second tab here on the top corner, and you have your list of different types of certificates. I'm normally using amtech electrical installation condition report. For the purpose of this video, I guess I will do an electrical installation condition report in British Standard. If you have a copy of the British Standard regulations, you'll be able to photocopy a report out of the section in the book, which you can fill in, which is completely valid for British Standard and can be issued out once you've completed a job. So, okay, we'll go for a single phase board. You have the choice of 3-phase L1, 2 or 3. Go for single in this case. The number of ways, we'll go for 6. That can be altered afterwards. I'll show you where. And in this case, we'll stick it with one board. Also enter the installation address in this place.
One last check, you've got the details correct. Your 80% ZS. 8 ways, one board, do you wish something? Yes. So, purpose of report.
Letting or seal. You also have a choice to select today's date in here, or whatever date you prefer, if it was carried out last week or whatever. The occupier's name in here. If the house is unoccupied, just put NA for not applicable in this box. So once you've filled your address in this section, you would move on to your type or description of the premises. So it's either domestic, commercial or industrial. So say for this it would be a house, so you pick domestic. So also the estimated age of the wiring system. So once you make a judgment on the age of the system, 10 years old. The next part here, evidence of alterations or additions. So has there been any additional circuits added that would be relevant, that would be made apparent by different colours of cable, etc. So you would pick this here. If that is so, how many years old do you think that is approximately? And fill that in there. So say you've seen something, looks like it's 5 years old, put it in there. Extent of electrical installation covered by this report. So as long as it's the complete house that's been tested, you want to fill this in with complete installation. If it has a garage or anything like that, you might want to say including garage. Now, this is where you would use, if say you weren't testing the garage because it was recently done and has a valid test certificate, you would have this not in here, and these limitations would be in here. Garage not tested. So if you'd done that, you would have put the client's name in here. We'll call him Joe. So put the full name in there. Operational limitations, including the reason. So if there's some part of the house you can't access, or some circuits that can't be isolated for fully testing, this is where you make note of that. For example, if you don't work in a broadcast center where they can't isolate certain sections of the studios, etc., you're going to have to make a note of what tests you couldn't do and the reason for that in here. So this inspection has been carried out in accordance with the BS7671 2018 IET wiring regulations, and you would update that to any amendments you feel necessary depending on the installation. There's notes on here that note the cables concealed within trunking and conduit, under floors, roof spaces, etc. in general, fabric off the building or underground have not been inspected unless specifically agreed between the client. So these are things that are hard to access, that you just cannot physically see without lifting floorboards and pulling the place apart. So down on to section E, the summary of condition of installation. So this is where you would select whether it's satisfactory or unsatisfactory. Now within this software, if you were to fill in defects further on in the report, it will automatically change from satisfactory to unsatisfactory if you have C1 or C2 defects. So in here you would put the general condition of the installation. So if you feel it's good condition, that's what you state. If you feel it needs rewired or there's extensive remedial work needed, this is where you would state that. So for now we'll say all is good at time of inspection. You can put whatever you want in here, just give a general idea of the condition of things. So this is your recommendations if there is remedial work needed or not. This is where your recommendations come into play, so I or we, depending on what you are. And if the place, say it's a house and it's valid and it's good, everything's okay, you're obviously going to give that 5 years. If you feel there's some remedial work needed or it's in a poor condition, you might want to suggest retesting in a number of months, whatever you feel. If it's depending how bad it is. You may also suggest up here that if it is so unsafe, you may have to note that it's unsafe for continued use in terms of safety and stuff. So this is where you fill that in. Okay, so down into G. This is the declaration, basically where you want to so section G, this is your declaration. This is where you put your trading title or your details, personal details, that basically puts your name to this certificate, which makes it legal. Section H. schedule and additional pages. This is quite important section. It may be easily overlooked, but this is where you identify the amount of pages you have in your report, which is very beneficial if you ever get a report and you feel there may be some pages missing. You can check this section and that would confirm or deny your thoughts. So this is important to note how many you have of each of these things: the schedule of circuit details of the installation, additional pages including additional sources of data sheets, and the schedule of test results of installations. You quantify each in this section. So that's page 1. On to page 2. So supply characteristics and earthing arrangements. This is where you'll select the type of earthing installation here, whether it's TNS, TNCS, TNS. This is where you'll select your type of installation. This is where you'll select your type of earthing arrangement, whether it's TNS, TNCS, or TNC, or a TT system or IT. Generally most systems are TNCS, which is your combined earth and neutral in one at incomer and separated within the house, or else a TNS system, which is separate 3 cables coming in. Now that's obviously going to dictate the readings and stuff, but that's going to be a bit too deep, I think, for this one. We'll keep it less deep. So the number and type of live conductors. So you want to select, if it's a 2-wire system, then you're going to have 1 phase 2-wire. So that will be TNCS, it's 2 wires in, 1 phase 2-wire, AC. Select your normal voltage, 50 Hertz. You want to measure your prospective fault current and fill that in here. And your external ZE would be fitted in here, unless there's some reason you can't isolate power to measure this, because it does need to be measured with the electric off. So you can also source this from your electric provider as well. It may be wrote down sometimes on location, or from previous certificates. You can use that data as well to fill in this box. So supply protective conductor, that will be your main fuse or whatever is protecting the property. Usually 7671, something like this. So that's that section. Confirmation of supply polarity, yes. Confirmation of supply polarity, easy for you to say. Particulars of installation referred to in the report. Means of earthing. So this is where you select whether it's a distributor's facility or else you have a spike. You can't have, well, you could have both, but you may remove one at some point. Yeah. So if it is a spike, you put it in here, and you would have to pick whether it's a rod or it might even be a plate or something if it's a different type of earthing or building structure. That's, if it's, I guess if it's steelwork buried in the ground, I guess, but haven't came across that one, to be fair. It's usually been a mat or a rod. And here you put the location, and you will put your resistance measured. You should know how to measure that. And you fill in your method of testing. So down here to main protective conductors now. select your type of earthing conductor and the size, cross-sectional area of your bonding conductors, and you've checked that they are verified. So also, what other earthing is there in the property? Is there gas and a water installation? Oil generally doesn't get earthed, not where I from anyway. It generally doesn't get earthed from where I am. Generally we don't earth that. Lighting structure, yes, in larger buildings. Steel, yes, bigger commercial buildings, and other incoming services. If there is anything, you would want to note that in here. So, next section, maximum demand. Domestic property, so it's 23 kVA. And your method of protection, if it's domestic, will be ADS. So your main switch and fuse, circuit breaker or RCD, where is it located, what's its rating, its type, etc. fills in here. If it's an RCD, fill in its milliamp rating. If it has a time delay, etc., you want to put that in here. And then down to our observations. So if this will get auto-filled, or you can manually input things in here. If there's something that's not on the list you need to add here, you can put it in and select whether it's 1, 2 or 3. So as you can see, you get a notification that's changed from unsatisfactory or to unsatisfactory from satisfactory once we've added a C2 fault, which is what it should be if it's a potentially dangerous fault. So moving on to page 3, the schedule of inspections. Now this is quite a detailed area. I think I'd be better making a separate video on this one than diving too deep into this, but it's all broke down in there, and you should have a general idea of what these are if you are familiar with these reports in any shape or form. But I'm guessing you're not, because that's why you're watching this video. So I will do another video which will go down into each one of these here and detail them in quite depth, in some more depth, because this is going to make that video far too long. Say your property has no RCDs, which may be a breach of regulations or not, depending on when the property was erected. So we have provision of additional requirement for protection by RCDs not exceeding 30 milliamps for all outlets of 32 amps or less. So you would generally suggest that would be a C3 if the regulations have changed and now the property is non-compliant because of that. It would only be C2 if it should be the compliant reason within that stated time frame. So we can go back to page 2 and we'll see that this has put these defects in the description box here. We have 2 C3s plus the original C1, which could be just removed. So that should put this report back to satisfactory. Or I'll have to change it by actually. So obviously you should know that C3s do not make a report unsatisfactory, just C2s and C1s. So onto the distribution board. I'm not going to bore you guys with detail. These details you're obviously going to put in here the location of your board, whether it's under the stairs. You fill in all your circuit details here, and you're going to have your reference method. So I'll do a rough board here, just for example, kicker, lighting.
I think I'll have to speed this up for you guys. But as you can see, you can build a certificate relatively quickly. So it could be 3 and 3 on a split board. depending on their installation type, you would select here whether it's in conduit or in a wall or clip direct. You may get a mixture of these in here. So point. Yes. So as you can see, moving on, you can select your cable sizes. I'm not going to be too fussy here because it's just an example. And obviously your disconnection times for cookers like 5 seconds, lightning 5 seconds. But it's protected by an RCD at like 0.4 also, I guess. But here 0.4. Also select your breaker type and so on, and that will bring up these boxes, and you can select your size, that size. So there we go. You get the idea, and that's what I said. So, test results. Over here you're going to have your polarity. Once you've got your ZS, you've obviously got your polarity, whatever these are, etc, etc. And so on, so on. And here, disconnection times, and etc, etc. Yeah, so once that's done there, you can say fill the blanks, and fill the blanks with not applicable and it's not applicable.
So once you get to this stage, all you need to do is create a PDF down here, and you can upload signatures and stuff. So if you have them uploaded, you would highlight these and you make it a master copy here. Okay, and this will be this example we done if I hadn't lost all the details in it earlier. But anyway, this is what it would look like. Page 1, 2, and your schedule, and certificate at the bottom. And all reports must have this last page. Your condition reports guidance for recipients, just your details 1 to 10, just things for the customer to note, which is exactly the same on every report. That does not change. That just is attached to every single report at the end. So, I hope you find this beneficial. If you like this, please give a wee like and look out for more videos in the future. Thank you. Bye bye.